one, just one transformation ambition. Sometimes that's all it takes to change the world. An example might be Unilever, committing to spending 2 billion euros with diverse businesses from across the world. Businesses from people that don't sound like each other, don't look like each other, don't come from the same places as each other. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to transformation, it needs to be ambitious, it has to be bold, it has to be disruptive, but more than anything, it must be impactful. Because once we understand that the question is not whether to change or not, whether to transform or not, the question is, how will you do it? How will your organization transform and begin moving the needle? That's the question. Because we no longer have a choice. Organizations no longer have a choice. We've got a raging planet, an economy that's doing circles around us all day, every day. But we've also got a population, a global population that's hungry for change. Let me show you what I mean. Have a look at the ballerina that's on your screen right now. Let me know whether you see the ballerina moving clockwise or anti-clockwise. All you have to do is identify how it's moving. Got it? Good. Now, what you'll see on the next slide is that I've added a ballerina on your extreme left. Now have a look at what happens to the ballerina in the middle. So most of us might be looking now and going, well, of course, I was right, because it's moving in the exact same direction. But have a look at the very next slide. Now I've added one on the extreme right-hand side. Have a look as they start moving, what happens to the ballerina in the middle. And now, to end off this trick, I'm going to bring both of them back onto the screen. And I want you to have a look at what happens as they start moving. Take your eyes and focus them on the ballerina on the extreme right. Move them to the one in the middle, the one on the extreme left, and back to the one in the middle. What you'll notice starts to happen is that wherever it is that your perspective or focus lies, that's the result that you get. And that really is how transformation works. We get an opportunity to grow our organizations, but also make a huge impact. And it all starts with where you put your focus. Now I understand, I work with changing organizations all the time, and one of our biggest fears is that we still have John Kotter's insights lingering over us, that 70% of organizational transformations still fail. And guess what? The Harvard Business Review just last year in 2021 proved that that figure is actually quite conservative. Even more than 70% are unsuccessful. So the question now is, how are you going to do it? What does yours look like? How are you going to fashion it in a way that works for you? Let's get started. 3 steps that I can strongly recommend to you to not only help you understand why you have no choice but to transform, but also how you can make it work in a way that's authentic to your organization. All right, let's go. The very first one is using your unique positioning to move the needle in a big, big way. The very second one is then bringing in that sense of aligning those goals with your growth targets as an organization. The very last one that we'll end off with is leveraging those powerful partners. Let's go into each of these really quickly so you understand exactly what I mean. Very first one is leveraging your unique positioning. When you think about your company, what do you stand for? What's the thing that's on the plaque gathering dust that you say you actually embody? Now, I want you to take that and ask yourself, if you were not afraid, what would you do? What impact would you make? Let me give you an example. Unilever, to take that example back, they started to do 2 separate sustainable development goals. Sustainable development goal number 5, which is gender equality, and sustainable development goal number 10, which is reduced inequality. And that's one way to take your ambitious goal and align it to a global target. And then the results then start to speak for themselves. You get global impact as an organization, but you also get brand loyalty, because trends have shown that individuals, customers, individuals that work in organizations support brands that do good. All right, second one, This is where you start to align your goals or your growth targets as an organization with what you say your transformation ambition is. Let's have a look at what that looks like by just touching on that Unilever example one more time. Unilever started off with their transformation ambition of working with diverse businesses, and then they overlapped their business growth target, which was working with emerging markets. So what's yours? It could be doubling your revenue. It could be something like stopping the talent bleed. Whatever it is, one of the ways you get great growth from transformation is overlapping that strategic intention with your transformation goal. And the result then is really 4 key things in my eyes. The very first one is extreme innovation that comes from a diversity of perspectives that you wouldn't get before. The second one is maintaining and retaining your top talent, because people stay with organizations they believe are doing good. Next one is stakeholder buy-in from all of the individuals that you work with in your ecosystem. Let's end off then with the very last one. Once you've got a very clear vision of what it is you want to transform and who you want to be, you've aligned it with your strategic goals, now you leverage your partners. Because if you want to go far, we go together. What might that look like? One of the things that you can do to start off is have a look at where your skills, insights, and resources gaps are. As you start to move forward in your transformation ambition, what is it that you lack? Where could you use some extra support? A really great thing that Unilever did as part of their transformation ambition is that in Kenya specifically, they work with the Women for More program that literally is aiming by the year 2026 to impact 100,000 women entrepreneurs who they've brought into the Unilever supply chain by equipping them with financial skills, the ability to stomach the Unilever supply chain. And that comes from partnering with the financial partner that they did over there. So imagine what you could do with the right partners in your corner. 3 things, just 3. The very first one being aligning with your transformation ambition in order to move the needle in a profound way. Secondly, aligning your growth targets to your transformation ambitions. And then the very last one is partnering with powerful collaborators. But I would be amiss if I didn't share this one tip with you as we close off. I've worked with organizations going through a range of different transformations, and one thing always stands out. This is the one thing that as you transform and make those big, bold leaps, is going to really help you make them stick. Take your people with you. Help the individuals in your team and your customers and clients to know that you've chosen to make a big, bold leap. And trust me, they will rally behind you to make it happen. Alan Jobe, CEO of Unilever, when they celebrated the 10-year anniversary of the Sustainable Living Plan, said something so interesting that I think you'll find valuable. He said, yes, the Sustainable Living Plan was a game changer for Unilever. But even though we didn't achieve some of our goals, we were a better business for having tried. And that's what I want you to remember as you transform. You will be a better business for having tried. Because whatever it is you do, whatever your one thing is, make sure that it's ambitious, it's bold, it's disruptive, but more than anything else, make sure it's impactful.